അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ന് 4th day ആണ്. എല്ലാ ദിവസവും രാവിലെ ഒരു ഏർലി ബേർഡ് സെഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവും. അതായത് രാവിലെ എണീക്കുന്നവർക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഓപ്ഷണലായിട്ട് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു സെഷനാണ്. നിർബന്ധമില്ല, വേണമെങ്കിൽ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ഏർലി ബേർഡ് സെഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞത് സെൻറ്റ് ക്രിസ്റ്റഫേഴ്സിൽ, അതായത് UK സെൻറ്റ് ക്രിസ്റ്റഫേഴ്സിലെ ഹെദർ മാം കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്തായിരുന്നു. വിച്ച് ഈസ് ഫോർ നേഴ്സസ്, മോസ്റ്റ്ലി നേഴ്സസിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടായിരുന്നു. അവരുടെ ലൈഫിൽ അവരെ ഏറ്റവും ഇൻസ്പയർ ചെയ്ത് എന്താണ്, ഒരു നേഴ്സ് ആവാനായിട്ട് ഏറ്റവും ഇൻസ്പയർ ചെയ്ത് എന്താണെന്നുള്ള കാര്യത്തെ പറ്റിയിട്ട് നേഴ്സസ് അവരുടെ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു സെഷനായിരുന്നു. ആൻഡ് എനിക്ക് അതിൻ്റെ ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുള്ളായിട്ടൊരു കവറേജ് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ലൈക്ക് ഒരു ഡോക്യുമെൻറ്റേഷൻ ഞാൻ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആൻഡ് ഐ വിൽ ഷെയർ യു വിത്ത് ഗൈസ്. ലൈക്ക് ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും.
Yeah, for me, I guess I need to tell a little bit about my journey then around how I got into nursing. So for me, one of my big passions when I was going through school was like helping people. That was the underlying thing. So I actually wanted to be a psychologist. So I did a 3-year degree in psychology, and then it was really hard to take it forward in my country at the time for many different reasons. And I had done a gap year in England actually after I finished school, and I had worked in the hospitals, actually funny enough with South African nurses, Australian nurses and English nurses as a carer, so like a really basic, doing the washes, feeding patients, and I absolutely loved it. I really felt like I was part of a team, and that we were like connecting with the patients, and that stayed with me. My mom is a nurse as well, so she's obviously been a big influence on my life. And then I decided I was kind of between things, so I couldn't really go further in psychology at that point. And then I thought, hey, why don't I do nursing? Because it was still, I don't know, like sitting there somewhere, I guess my heart in my like belly. So I went into the undergraduate nursing training program, and it was incredibly challenging, but I made it through. And then what ignited my, I guess, palliative care was I was privileged enough to go on a course in our hospital that I was working in at the time. I was doing community service after my training, and this nurse Leonore came in, and she gave us a 5-day introduction course to palliative care, and it just clicked. Everything made so much sense for me. I was really struggling with patients being left in private wards and like abandoned in the dying process, and I was like, there's got to be another way to do this. And when she gave me that course, I was just like, this is it. Like, these patients don't even need to be coming into the hospital, they can be at home. And I was like, there's actually a way to do this. And from there I went into hospice, and kind of that started my journey. So I guess, I don't know if that's answering the question, but yeah, that's where the fire came from, and it just clicked for me. Yeah.
That's so lovely. Thank you so much.
For me, I never thought about that I would become a nurse, and it was not in my planning. Then I found palliative care, and from there I'm clear about it. I should have become a palliative care nurse. I found my hope when I'm talking to my patients, and they inspires me a lot. And when I thought that I could become hope in their last days of life, it became amazing. And I thought that it was like a meaning of my life that it completed after becoming a palliative care nurse. I can finally found that I can make difference, a real difference in someone else's life, that I have a value too. And in the difficult situation in their life, there are many other nurses working in other department, But the patient, they care about their cute sometimes later. But the patients I worked for them, that they go to hospital, they come hospitals, and then I go to home visits, and in the community I serve them. But we are not talking about their cure and the thing. And so I found that I can a valuable person by caring of them, and it is very rewarding, instant rewarding, that patients always make dua for me in their prayer, and it is the best thing happens in my life.
What I love about what Layla said is, I mean, she's just articulated the person in me meeting the person in you, and that reciprocity. It's not just about her giving hope to people, but people giving hope to her. It's a beautiful insight. That is less beautiful. Who would like to go next? Lovely. Just a few moments, lovely.
Yes. I always wanted to be a nurse from childhood because my younger sister was born as a case of palliative tetralogy. Of course, that time I did not know that is palliative tetralogy. She was taken to CMC Vellore for operation, and in and out, like most of the follow-up cases we used to do in the nearby hospital. And I have always seen the nurses very affectionate and taking care of her. And from that time, I wanted to be a nurse. I still remember that Sister Charles. I wanted to be something like her. But as I grew up, and when I was in my +2, my father especially wanted me to be a teacher. He enrolled me for a graduation in college. That passion was still in me. I wanted. So one day I saw an advertisement. Of course, again, in 1971, there was an India-Pakistan war. So I wanted to become a soldier also. So this both was there in me. So then I saw actually that in army they were taking this thing. So I thought, okay, I can become a nurse in army. So I can fulfill both the things. So there was a lot of opposition, and with this thing I managed. So I cleared the entrance examination and interview and everything, and then finally my father.
And tell us what makes you passionate about nursing.
Okay. So like that. Then in army we had chance to serve the wounded soldiers. I had 2 opportunities. Like there was an operation Blue Star, and then later on Operation Power India Sri Lanka coalition, and also there was an internal conflict in the Amritsar.
Just what's your passions about nursing?
Okay. So I always wanted to do something for the community and something for the. So after retirement from army, I wanted to do. Actually, in 1997, I met Dr. D'Souza, who was doing a lot in palliative care in Bombay, in Tata Memorial Hospital actually. So I have heard about, and from him, I learned about the palliative care nursing and what they are doing there actually. So when I came back after retirement, I was wanting to do my post-graduation. I tried. There was no.
Just go with what you're passionate about nursing,
okay,
rather than just the whole story.
Okay, ma'am. At present, I try and instill passion in my students. Whenever I take a class, I always see that some moral values. I always instill. I give a small pep talk to them before starting the class and thing. And also when I take the students to the community, I'm being a community health nurse. When I take them to the community, I always take them to the thing, and I always instill and that I try to encourage and inspire them by doing palliative care nursing. I send them along with the palliative care team whenever we go, and also whenever there is a patient who is the same, we refer them to the palliative care nursing. And also we spend some time with them and also visit the patients in palliative care whoever is in the nearby.
Thank you. Thank you. I was just going to say, let's hear from some of our colleagues from Africa. So first, I'll be picking on you shortly.
Hi everyone. Yes. So for me, about 24 years back, I lost my immediate brother. He passed on as a result of kidney failure, and I would say that it started from that very point where he was on admission and he couldn't do much, so he would always call the nurses, and they would not mind him. Some would tell him he's disturbing, he's over demanding. So the moment he sees me, immediately he will ask for the things that he had been asking and nobody was really paying attention to him. And I'll sit by his bed, I'll hold his hand, and I realize that anytime I'm around him, he's so happy and he feels so comforted. And in fact, since that time, then I realized that when I go to the ward, then I will go around trying to help other patients who are not able to do much for themselves. And I started having that joy. Although I was losing my brother, I was so happy that I could help somebody on the bed and the person would say thank you. So that was where it started from. And I lost my brother. Then I said, no, I have to take this out. I want to be a nurse. Because right from childhood, I admire nurses and also taking care of people. And so when I went into nursing, I trained as a general nurse. And then after practicing for a while, I was taken back to oncology unit. And that was where the whole thing now developed. I could just see the patients, get their details, find out their problems, and then on my own, I will call them on phone, checking up on them, how they are feeling, are the pain okay, are they having any other symptom. In fact, I started doing that, not knowing I was doing palliative care. I didn't know there was anything called palliative care. So I practiced, kept on taking patient details on my own. I would call them, I document. So anytime any doctor wanted an information about a patient, they would just tell him, go and ask Alberta. And then they would come, oh, this patient from this town, so I don't know the name. Then I'll just mention the name with the diagnosis. Oh, how is she? I said she's doing well. So that started, and then I was doing it, but I didn't have any training. I didn't know there was anything called palliative care, you know. So I kept on doing that, and for a period of 5 years. Then one doctor approached me and said, I realize you have this passion for, the sick. And those in the terminal stages of life, you just love caring for people. Why don't you take up a course in palliative care? I said, oh, is there a course called palliative care that I can, Yeah, so I got myself admitted to one of the schools in South Africa, and then I trained as an oncology and palliative care nurse. And since then, I've not regretted. And coming here, seeing what we observed yesterday at the field trip, I said, oh my God, I'm just waiting to get back home and then see how best I can also inculcate all that I've learned here and I've seen here into my practice. So that has been my passion.
We have time probably for 2 or 3 more. So who else would like to talk about their passion in nursing?
Can I share? Of course you can. Let's Yanden and then. You're going first?
No, go first. Good morning, everyone. I'll just
Speak up.
Sorry. Am I audible? Good morning, everyone. So I'll just be very brief. What attracted to me nursing? There was nothing that attracted to me nursing because I was never exposed, and I was brought up in a very small community. And after passing my high school, since I had a somewhat good grade, I had a choice to make like teaching, engineering, nursing, and agriculture, animal husbandry, so many things. But something, my inner self, I think it was my inner intuition that made me choose this profession because it was the way that I was brought up. And getting into nursing, I had spent my 24 years in nursing, and most of it was I was taking care of mother and children. So that one thing that really kept me going in this was a very difficult field in my country. Midwifery was a very difficult field. Nobody wanted to be there. What kept me going was it was nothing was fancy about it, but whenever I went out in the town, I saw somebody telling me, oh sister, we call our nurses sister, this is the child you give birth to. and that somehow gave me like that is again an inner feeling of what satisfaction, something that you are, of course you don't remember every day you conduct deliveries and things, but these people these people remember you. There are so many faces and so many people that you had actually, my hands have welcomed so many newborns, and coming to palliative again, I think my hands have to few people. I think I have bid goodbye to people, maybe few hundred people. So, and there is not a single day that I regret as being a nurse, like many of my other colleagues. And why? Because this profession has really kept me grounded. This profession has really made me like to be on the ground and see the realities and never be materialistic and go after wealth. I think that's what I like about this profession. Thank you.
I love that idea about hands that you probably have delivered thousands of babies.
It was more than 13 years that I was in there.
And to have the same hands say goodbye to people, it's very profound. I'm going to ask Farah. Oh, is that all right? Farah.
Okay, so when I chose to be a nurse, it wasn't that it was something that I thought about. No, it was something that I didn't have any nurses around me, but my mom pushed me into it, and I wanted to work in the health sector, but I knew that I did not want to be a doctor. So this is something that I knew. So I went into nursing and I liked it, and I went into emergency nursing at first, and I chose to be an emergency nurse after spending one day in the emergency room, part of my rotation, like literally one day. I rotated in all the units at the hospital, and it was this one day that changed my life. And when I went to the interview, I remember the nursing director asked me, because there were options to put where do you want to be placed in a hospital. Then there were 3 options, and I put emergency, and then I paused for the 3rd option. I was like, let me choose the 2nd option, because I don't want to be on the regular floor, so I've put the ICU just in case. And then when she asked me, I was like, I don't know why, I just know that I want to be there, and I promise I'm gonna do a good job. And then lucky me, I was placed there, and it was a beautiful journey in emergency. Emergency nursing is something very nice. And then later on, I left my job. I went into a different place, and at some point I changed into public health, and I went to do a master's. And then I went to work in public health, and I went into a purely research job. And I stayed like 6 months, and I knew that that wasn't the place. And then I quit, and then I wanted to think, like, what am I gonna do now? I've been some good time without clinical practice. And then I was like, I'm gonna look for something in nursing. It will work out. And then I went to this hospice job, and I didn't know what this palliative care was all about. I just read the definition before going to the interview, and I went to the interview. I swear. But the interview was so good, and the president of the NGO was so inspiring. And I knew, before knowing that I will take the job, that this is the place I'm gonna be at. And I've been there in palliative nursing for the past 5 years. Although I don't see patients myself, but the stories of the patients, when I watch the IDT and I take part in it, when I help in the education, when I see nursing students coming to our place and going to see a patient and then coming back with a surprise on the face, and then I ask them, what was new for you? And they was like, this is magic. It thrills me. And when I try to look even for jobs outside Lebanon, I always look for palliative nursing, palliative researcher. Like I always wanted to be in this place, and I think my intuition led me to this place. And there was one thing I always say: if I go back in time, I will always choose to be a nurse. This is definite.
We only have time. I'm going to ask Sylvester, and then Marie, if you could finish with your story and any closing comments that you have, that would be great. Sorry, we've got very limited. Otherwise, you'll have no breakfast.
Good morning. Okay. My name is Vesta from Kenya. I want to give a brief of how I had the passion for nursing and palliative care nursing. I remember back in the days when I finished my secondary training, I wanted to do something with the medicine. But one time I woke up in the morning and I did my application. I didn't get the chance to do that. So I applied for 2 courses, then I got the nursing one. I said, anyway, it's a medical discipline. I went. So I finished my basic training. Then after that, after working for 1 year, there is this mother from our community who had so many children, had problems to educate them. But one time, one of his sons did very well, and he went for the studies in UK and finished, got job there and married from there. So when he came home, he promised his mother that he will be taking care of her. So he would send large amounts of money to the mother to take care of the other brothers and sisters and other family issues. But one time, the mother went to the hospital, was told by the physician, now you are going to hypertensive stroke and you have diabetes. I want you to stop taking sugar, stop taking oil, cooking oil, stop taking salt, and you stop enjoying the life you are enjoying. So the mother looked down and asked, why after all the long period of educating my children and struggling, and now that they have good job and they are taking care of me, why should somebody just, why should you doctor just immediately tell me that I should stop eating all those? I cannot eat food without salt. I can't eat food which is not fried. I need to enjoy the life after struggling with my children. So, so she told the doctor, I will take the sugar, I'll take the cooking oil, I'll take the salt, and I'll enjoy the life. So every morning, her son would come and tell me, come and talk to my mother. She's going against what the doctor said. We want to take the blood pressures in the morning. When you take them, they are shot up, the sugars are high. But now, when I talked to the mother, she told me, I will not sit down and watch others while they are enjoying, and I cannot enjoy my life, simply because a doctor somewhere saw that it is not worth for me to enjoy. So,
Can you talk a little bit about your passion?
yeah, through interaction with the mother, now I felt that why should we be talking to our patients as if we are giving directives and not giving solutions? So for someone to enjoy the quality of life, he must enjoy whatever he feels like. So my passion was, if I could have some knowledge and skills to talk to these people, if they have life-threatening illness or life-limiting illness, then I think there could be a better way of breaking the news, maybe in bits and chunks, so that they can accept the situation first. Then they know why they are supposed to be avoiding what they feel. So that gave me a passion about palliative care. Every time I see a patient with chronic illness, I feel this patient, there are so many other issues that are cropping up from the patient. So I need to do 1, 2, 3. I need to do 1, 2, 3. So anytime I see anything about palliative care, I'm so passionate. The links and the Zoom and the articles, I'm so passionate about them because I feel at the end of the day, our patients will have someone to talk to them about their problems. That's the passion in me in palliative care and general nursing. Thank you.
Are you willing to have no breakfast for a few minutes?
Yes.
So, Pauline, you're next. You get your chance. Just talk about your passion for nursing.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm Pauline from Rwanda. I'm oncology nurse. I have chosen nursing because my aunt was my role model. She was a nurse too and a midwifery. She passed away this year and she was having like 85 years old. She was my role model because when she used to take care of all family members. When we are sick, our parents say that you have to go to your aunt. She will take care of you. So that's why I have chosen nursing. Then I became oncology because they were my neighbors. She was a mom, and she has been diagnosed with the cancer, and nobody cared about her. She go back home. Then when I went to visit her, she said, you know, my child, I'm going to die. They told me that I have cancer, breast cancer is metastasized to the other body. So she said, I'm afraid of dying. How my family will left, and my husband, my children, who will take care of them? So I feel free to talk about death. I prepare him psychologically, spiritual, and I said it is the hard trajectory, but you have to accept it is the journey of all of us. From that, she accepted that she will die. Then she started preparing death. I asked her, how do you want your blood ceremony to look like? What did she choose clothes to wear when she died? She said, don't use expensive money when I'm dying. Please do this and this and this. So I feel happy when she accepted death, and then other people, they shared my number and they say that nurse can help you when, for example, when people have like cancer, they say that mom has studied cancer, she can help you, she can help your family. Up to now, I feel comfortable preparing patients with life-limiting illness, and if they are at the end of life. When I'm here, there is one who called me that he has a patient and he's very sick. He has cancer which is metastasized. Please come to visit me. So I told her that I'm not around in Rwanda, but I'll be back to visit her. They keep shared my number, so they call me to prepare them for death. I'm feel passionate in this because nobody pushed me to go to visit them. Nobody tell me, please go there. Myself, I take my time to go to visit patients without any return. So it is just from my heart. I think my family suffer the most because when I have a patient to care in the community, I don't care. Even myself, my child, and my husband, they suffer the most. They say, oh, Pauline, mommy, you go again, you go again, you go again. So I can't, if I don't do that, I cannot feel comfortable because I have to go there. I say, I have to go, it's a must. So that is my story. Thank you so much.
And then Marie will finish.
Mine is a very short one. I've been a palliative care for the last 20 years. Yes, and my passion for palliative care is just that smile of a patient. And more is that when you just do something for the patient and the patient says, thank you, and you go back again to the same patient, you feel you have the energy to do it again. Now more again, my more passion goes back to the community, where the community most of the palliative care is being offered at the tertiary hospitals or big hospitals. So what keeps me going for palliative care is that when I'm reaching this patient for a few miles, I keep on going again further because there are so many patients who are suffering. So my take is that when you have the heart for the patient, when you have that energy to give, let's give it, because most of our patients, they are looking out to us. So that's what keeps on keeping me on going, because most of our nurses in Kenya, we are really too curative, where we think of perioperative, working theatre, there are so many work, there are so many locums, critical care, but palliative care is away. It's like those are patients who are dying. And always it gives me that after seeing a patient, leaving the patient comfortable, it really feels for me that I've done that, I've given that quality of life. I've given even though I've not seen 10 patients, I've seen 1 patient is enough for me. And always the smile on the patient is my comfort.
I'd like to tell you a story which for me encapsulates the beauty and the power of nursing. A few months ago I got an email. It was from Mark. He was a patient that I cared for 30 years ago. And he found me because I was on LinkedIn, which is, as you may know, an international just site. And he said, are you Marie O'Donoghue, who was Sister Cotton? And I said, Mark, yes. He said, can we talk? And I said, absolutely. So we spoke. He rang me. And I was a sister on a cardiothoracic unit. He was a 19-year-old young man, and he had a very complex cardiac condition. And he was now alive and well and absolutely thriving. So that was 30 years ago, as I said. And I said, Mark, it's so great to hear from you. Tell me, what was it like back in those days? And we laughed, and he said, and I might cry at this point, he said, we had done highly complex cardiac surgery on him, and he was alive. And he said, Marie, he said, you probably call me Marie now. He said, why did you call me Marie then? Because he kept creeping out of the ward when he shouldn't have been. But he said, I will always remember, Marie, so that when I came back from surgery, you held my hand, and I wouldn't let it go. He said, I was scared, and I held onto your hand. And I think that's it. I thought we were doing all the clever stuff. We had all the drips and ventilators and everything going on. And we had done the surgeons and the team had done some amazing work on this man. But the thing that he shared with me was that I held his hand when he was scared, and he never let it go. And I think that really encapsulates the art and the science of nursing, that we need both. We need the technology, we absolutely need the science, but without the human heart, which the nurses absolutely have the right to hold and bring into the team, that person will never remember their care 30 years later. So I really say, let's celebrate and really enjoy the fact that we have the beauty of this wonderful profession that we can share with our society. Thank you.
It's a great place to finish and a great story. Thank you so much, Marie. And let me just tell you about Marie very quickly as a cardiac sister, scary lady. But I tell you the story because it brings that even into harsher light, is that if you worked on her ward, she made you know how to use the resuscitation trolley in the dark. Didn't you, Marie? Because you had to be able to do it so quickly and without being able to have all the props ready. So to go from that to remembering to hold somebody's hand in their moment of huge anxiety and need, that's where we should be. Thank you all so much. Let's go to breakfast. We've got a busy day.